Well, the UCLA women proved they do belong, just unfortunately didn't come out with a win. How close were they? Pretty darn close, even with some shoddy officiating down the stretch.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everybody, in this reaction, it's Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for tuning in for Locked On UCLA. Thanks for making it your first listen each and every day. Just know that this episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. It's a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing that you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use the promo code Locked On at checkout. Get $30 off your order. Well, the Bruins that close to upsetting South Carolina on the road in Columbia. A game that was back and forth. The Bruins led the entire way until the fourth quarter, as UCLA ended up losing 73-64, as they were only outscored in the final two quarters. The Bruins led by as many as 10. It took to late in the third quarter before South Carolina took a late lead. Then the fourth quarter, with the two teams tied heading in, the Bruins going ice cold from the field right when South Carolina was doing what they needed to do. The Bruins in that fourth quarter, their worst offensive quarter of the game. And yes, while they did score more points than they had the entire game in the other three quarters for Corey Close's bunch, UCLA went 3 of 15 from the field and 0 of 8 from downtown. Yes, that's not going to cut it when you're playing one of the best teams in the country. They had a great effort all the way through and through until the end, but unfortunately for the Bruins, South Carolina's defense reigned supreme. A lot of defensive pressure for South Carolina overall. Taking a look at the numbers, it was evident just the physical presence Aaliyah Boston and company had in the paint. Overall, the Bruins watched South Carolina with 15 blocks. UCLA overall shot 21 of 65, which means without those blocks, the Bruins shot 21 for 50, about 40-ish percent, 40 plus percent from the field. And that's what South Carolina shot in this game. 15 block shots for South Carolina in this game, and they're led by none other than one, Aaliyah Boston with 4, and Camille Cardoso, who is a wrecking crew down low for the Gamecocks, with 9 rebounds. And she ended up with 16 points, just shy of Aaliyah Boston's 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks. You add in Fletcher, who had 10 rebounds, 12 points, and a lot of the damage to the Bruins was done down low in the paint off missed shots, as UCLA couldn't get the rebound as many times as they would have liked. A lot of the key stats, you look at this, the Bruins, for the most part, took care of the basketball except late. They had overall 12 turnovers in the fourth quarter when UCLA was still tight in this one. They had to heave up at least 4 desperation pro-range three-point shots contested, which no coach wants you to do, even if you have the likes of Charisma Osborne as a semi-decent three-point shooter from when open. You have Charisma Osborne and the rest of the team shooting so many deep threes at the end that it just didn't cut out. The Bruins had a good game plan early. You saw the motion of the offense, getting some open looks, getting some open threes, and yet it was South Carolina with their defense, who shows that this year they are upsettable. They are totally unbeatable. Don Staley's group, which is stout defensively, was able to out-rebound the Bruins. South Carolina had 20 offensive rebounds to the Bruins. 17, yes, but it turned to 15 second chance points, 42 points in the paint, and the end, in a game that was back and forth and much closer than the final score indicated, UCLA, until the last minute, this was a 2-3, if not 4-point game, until the officials seemed to target the freshman Kiki Rice, giving her 3 cheap fouls in one breath. The steal that turned into a foul, garbage, and then the frustration of bouncing of the basketball turning into a tech, and then a touch foul after that. 3 fouls to foul her out in a minute, practically. You had Cameron Brown fouling out, Sontag fouling out, considering she was battling with Aaliyah Boston all night, even though she took the elbow to the face, pushed away, and then, on what seemed to be no contact whatsoever, turned it into an early bonus for South Carolina. So in that final minute, which seemed to take a good 10 years, UCLA put themselves in position to win this game. Just like how South Carolina was on the ropes against Stanford not too long ago, down 12, down 10 in the fourth. UCLA had them down 10 in that second quarter, had them down about 6-7, but there was a little bit of a stretch in that game where UCLA had chances to shoot threes. Bessoir had a couple open looks from three, which could have helped the Bruins out, but in 10 points and 4 of 14 shooting, that wasn't going to cut it. Charisma Osborne, not her best shooting night, 6 of 18, but yet she still poured in 24 points on 10 of 11 shooting. Jaquez, with her 15 minutes off the bench, 4 points. You saw Cameron Brown foul out. Kiki Rice with her 16 point, showcasing her ability as a freshman weapon. But in the end, it was Leah Boston down low, scoring, double-double, rebounding. Cardoso, who was just too much. It was the rebounding and the defensive presence in the paint when UCLA continued to force their way into the paint and getting blocked deep inside, where there's past the restricted area underneath the basket, and UCLA was looking to go inside the paint and couldn't do so. Again, 0 for 8 from downtown in that fourth quarter. UCLA entering the fourth quarter was 5 of 13, a decent 3-point shot, right? But in this game, I looked at the numbers before the game, and I would have liked to post a preview on this one, but technical difficulties really messed it up. So for the reaction, I was thinking UCLA needed to hit closer to 10 threes than 5 threes. Well, if UCLA hits 3 threes in that fourth quarter, the Bruins could have been a little bit closer to 10 threes against a South Carolina team that packs it in defensively, very long and athletic even on the wings. So the Bruins would have had to hit some very tough contested threes for them to even make it a shooting chance in that fourth quarter. But in the end, just so many free throws in that fourth quarter. South Carolina shot 18 free throws in the fourth quarter alone. In the fourth quarter alone, South Carolina shot 18 free throws, with Aaliyah Boston shooting 8 of 10. It really got out of hand in terms of just from a 1-possession to a 2-possession, 3-possession game when the Bruins looked like they had the steal. Instead, it turned into a technical foul, a foul that put them over the limit and put South Carolina in the bonus and gave them the ball. So 4 free throws and the ball. They all made their free throws, and they got more free throws after that. Really changes the score. So UCLA should be proud. All Bruin fans should be proud of Kerry Close's team, a team who didn't even make it to the NCAA tournament against the defending champions, reigning head coach of the year, reigning player of the year, and UCLA went to their house and had a great chance to win. It wasn't like Stanford where they rode their home crowd at home. The Bruins went on the road in a rowdy environment and had their chance to win this one. Maybe not necessarily put this game away, but an opportunity to win this one. Again, UCLA overall shot 32% in the second half when things got a little tight. They shot less than 30%, 16% from downtown, 2 of 4 in that third quarter, and got to the free throw line their fair share, but it's the amount of free throws that the Gamecocks shot late and just their physical ability. When UCLA had the chance, sometimes stumbled running into the defense and just coughed it up. But very well, UCLA, who just recently vaulted their way up in the rankings in the AP polls to 15, proving, hey, this is a team to be messed with. But the Bruins certainly proven that they can compete with one of the top teams in the country. How it tangles in March and April if these two teams meet deep in the tournament, well, we'll see how it goes. Both teams will have their adjustments, but in the end, what was impressive was UCLA proved they can be amongst the top tier in the country, and they'll bounce back and look to find themselves into a much better slate moving forward. Reminder, they already destroyed Tennessee. Well, destroyed 17. They beat them by 17. Beat Marquette, a team on a neutral site in overtime that's been streaking. The next few games will be easy going forward, one would think, for the Bruins when they get the likes of Santa Barbara and Cal State Fullerton before playing December 15th, starting Pac-12 play at USC in the Galen Center. So just about 2 weeks, the going gets tough when you get to take on your bitter rival right around the end of final season, right? And the Bruins start off Pac-12 play on the road against their bitter rival across town. UCLA proved that they're a team they don't want to be messed with, and they can compete with the likes of Stanford. We'll see what the like here in their final few meetings, one would expect possibly before moving to the Big Ten. But they play Stanford December 13th. They then go to Stanford on February 20th. as the Bruins had their schedule cut out for them, in the end, UCLA, golden opportunity to find themselves going deep around in March with a performance like this for the first 2.5, almost 3 quarters, where you play, if not almost the most of the fourth quarter, the number one team in the country even. They had their chance, up 10, tied going in the fourth, even up in the fourth for a brief moment, and it was tied, and yet they find themselves on the wrong end. It was some stout defense, and the Bruins impressed. Some might have thought this one would have been close, and the 9-point game does not dictate and indicate, as I should say, as to how close and how very tight this was back and forth when the Bruins were in control, only to watch it slip away late with some costly turnovers and giveaways when it comes to blocks and missed shots and four-step shots late in the shot clock. They'll learn and they'll grow, but it's nice to see the Bruins, a team who wasn't in the preseason top 25 for the first time in a few years, didn't make the tournament, had one of their best starts to the season in the last couple of seasons, but dating back to the 1920 season. UCLA looks ready to compete here in the 2022 to 23 campaign. We'll talk about them more throughout the basketball season and whatnot, but you have to be proud of the Bruins for what they put forth tonight. Just know that this episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks because the holidays are here. You can achieve gifting greatness when you give the gift of perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha Steaks. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together special curated gift packages to help you take the guesswork out of gifting and makes yourself a holiday hero. Go to omahasteaks.com, use the code locked on at checkout to get $30 off your order. They've got the butcher's cut filet mignon. That's mouth-watering favorite right there. Air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra juicy burgers, and easy prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Just go to omahasteaks.com, shop early, don't get stuck with the shipping hassles you'll see during the holiday season. Use the promo code locked on at checkout, and you can get $30 extra off your order. Again, it'll be a gift that you will be remembered for with every unforgettable bite. There may be a minimum order may be required. Just go to Locked On at checkout when you go to omahasteaks.com to get an extra $30 off your order with omahasteaks.com. Bruins fall to South Carolina by 9, but maybe earn some respect by doing so on the road against the top team in the country as the Bruins suffer their first loss of the season, but prove, hey, they're not to be messed with in this season. UCLA fans, just know that thanks for making Locked On UCLA your first listen each and every day. Go check out Locked On Sports today. Make that your second listen. And also check out Locked On UCLA on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Thanks for your support. 8 clap. Let's go, Bruin fans. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Fight, fight, fight. This has been the reaction for Locked On UCLA. Go Bruins.